All righty, everybody. Thanks so much for coming by today and spending a couple hours with us. We do appreciate it. We've got a special guest, one of our all-time favorites here, coming back on by request. Our new guy, Nate, requested. We were like, Nate, if there's somebody you want to meet, I want to hear who it, so we can start talking to these people. And the first thing out of his mouth was, I want Wise Guy History to come. So here he is. Wow.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks
so
for having
excited
me.
you're here.
Good to be here.
You're very excited to have
It's
you
lovely. Look, Nate's little face is lit up. It's lovely to see.
right.
It's like Christmas Day.
Christmas.
That's right.
It's a very special to have you back. I do have this unfortunate relationship with you. You were the guest that was supposed to come on the day that I had my cancer surgery, and so I missed out, and then we never got you back for a long time, and blah blah blah. And so every time I think about this, I think about you. So
I'm sorry I make that connection. That's a bad connection to make.
Yeah. I don't know if you're good luck or bad luck.
That's what you want to hear at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I think about this. I think about you.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for coming out. We do appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about. For sure. Let's catch up with everyone and say hi. First of all, Rough Swordsman, how you doing today, sir?
Well, as we say over here, not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a lovely day over here in Old Blighty. Sun is been shining, and it's a bit like summer's here because it's midsummer. Summer solstice was it the 21st? I think it changes a day or so depending on the date.
Did you go to Stonehenge to clean off the orange paint?
I tell you what, don't start me off. All right, 2,000 years old. They've got a clue. Anyway, don't start me off. It's okay. No, it'll wash off in the rain. But there's ancient sort of populations of very rare lichen there.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, stop it. So, but yeah, apart from that, so I got my first part one of Skies Above Britain out with all the subscribers and the YouTubers that wanted to be involved, and luckily nobody copped it. Nobody went into the old into the sea or anything like that, so that was quite fun. We've had some good positive comments, people enjoying it, because there's people from the chat here and YouTubers playing the game, so they can all relate. They all know the names, so it's quite fun. And our subscribers to us, by the way, if you're not subscribers to us, please, we need all the help. We're struggling. Give us
and don't forget to hit that like button either.
Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Do the subscribe first, and then, hit that like button.
Nate, welcome back.
Thank you.
5 months in, and you're taking a week off already. So
that's right. Next week. Yep.
Yeah,
I will tell you that I had a really fun morning and afternoon because I played for the first time the War of the Ring.
Oh, for the first time. Wow.
First time. Really enjoyed it. I played Sauron, and I lost, but I did take a Minas Tirith though. I wanted to take that at least. But
nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
I definitely want to play it again. It's very thematic. And we had me and my friend Ryan from the other guy from the Board Game Bunker channel that we had it out. We were playing it, and we also put the soundtrack on at the same time. So it was very, very into the moment of Lord of the Rings. So it was awesome.
It's an amazing atmospheric game because it's so big. You get all those miniatures, and
oh yeah,
you really dive in.
Then there's apparently there's 3 expansions too.
Yeah, yep. I've got them over behind me. Yep. I don't play with it. I've never played with it. I have maybe once, but the base game is so solid. I've never felt the need to add the expansions. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just picked up the first edition for darn cheap. It was like $12 or something for the first edition. It was crazy. I'm like, for $12, I'll get the first edition. What the heck? Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Anyways, Nate, what's going on? I put out a lot of content, and a lot of people talk about how much content I put out. There's one guy that's keeping up with me. It's you. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's all because of Vassal. Because I've just realized how quick and easy it is to play games by Vassal. I've still got games on my table, so I've got Operation Theseus set up now, but it just takes so long to set up and learn through the rules and punch counters and all that kind of stuff. And it's just Vassal, like literally you open the file, load a scenario, ready to go like that. And it just kind of cuts out so much of the background. I can just jump straight in. And I love that I love that. It's just made it so much easier to play games and record. And look, I'm really loving Simonich at the moment. So
yeah, you are going through a phase of that, aren't you?
Oh yeah. And it's so easy to jump from one to the other. I went, was it Salerno, and then I went Ardennes, and then North Africa, and now Stalingrad. And it's just so easy to make the jump between. I'm playing 4 very different games with the one.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
It's
off.
the one rule set, pretty much for the most part.
Yeah, with just different bits for each game, isn't it? Really? Yeah.
I was going to ask. I was curious to ask you about Salerno 43 because I remember watching on, I think it was your unboxing video that you mentioned that you've studied the Salerno landing.
Yeah.
You were curious.
Here we go.
You weren't really sure if it was actually going to be a good game or not.
Yep, that's my book on. It does feature Salerno, so I looked at the mutiny at Salerno.
Okay.
There's a big British mutiny, mainly from the 50th and 51st Division. They were told, so they were over. Where were they? North Africa, and they were told they were in a hospital recovery camp, and they were told they were going back to their units. And so they got on this boat thinking they were going back to rejoin their units in the 50th and 51st Divisions. And then they arrived at Salerno. Halfway across the Mediterranean, they were told by the captain, we'll be in Salerno in 1 hour. And they're like, what? And they were furious. And they arrived on the beach. And this is in the early days when the reason they were sent there is to reinforce various units. And they mutinied. One of the biggest British mutinies. Ruff, I don't know if you know much about that, but one of the biggest the biggest British mutiny of the Second World War. And so I looked at the mutiny and kind of sought to explain why they mutinied.
Yeah.
And I argued that it wasn't actually a mutiny. They weren't rebelling against. They wanted to fight. They just wanted to return to their home units. That was the core of it.
What happened to them?
They were court-martialed, they were trialed, they were eventually, most of them were sent to some pretty rough units in the Italian campaign. They were not, most of them did not find their way back to their units. They were very harshly dealt with.
They paid the price one way or the other, sort of thing.
Yeah, it was pretty horrific. Yeah, I mean, all their commanding officers had always told them to fight to get your way back to your units, don't leave, because this is a Tyne and Tees in the 51st Highland Division. And they had a strong esprit de corps, especially the 51st. And their commanding officers had always told them, this is your unit. Don't accept transfer to another unit. Blah blah blah. And they're kind of, in a sense, following orders by doing that. Because when they went to Salerno, they were meant to just go to as reinforcements to other units, a hodgepodge of other units, and they said no, we're not taking that.
They formed that bond with those other guys, and then they got separated. They want to go back, and they couldn't go back.
Yeah, there's a history with these regiments that brothers, the old brothers in arms thing. That's it.
Yeah, they wanted to execute them all. 100, I think it worked out to be about 180 men in total, roughly. I can't remember the exact numbers, but they wanted to execute them, and they eventually sentenced them to jail terms, and then after a while, after about a year, they sent them off to Italy. Horrific,
Terrible.
Frontline units. But
so what do you think of in terms of after doing all that research, how the game held up in terms of like first as a game itself, but then also how it dealt like the historic feel of it?
Yeah, look, Salerno eclipsed my expectations in terms of both how it captured the history, but also how fascinating it was as a game to play.
Yeah. You seemed really excited in your review on it.
Yeah, and I think large part of it was just because I didn't expect much from it. A one map, really confined space, and it doesn't look like much. It looks like such a simple little, like, what choices can I make here? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Just pushing against these mountain passes. But it turns out there's some really fascinating decisions in that little space.
Nathan, they say that's the better one to start with, or one of the best ones to start with the series because of the smallness. But there's still a lot to do.
Yeah, it feels a lot like Ardennes 44 is my favorite because of the decisions you're making. And it feels a lot like that because you're making these little really important tactical decisions about what path to take and crossing the mountains and scrutinizing the terrain, and yeah, great place to start.
Look, I want to talk to you about that series, but let's say hi to all of our friends first before we get too far into that, because I want to. I posted some comments and you know I've made a few of your live streams and we've talked back and forth, and I want to get your feelings about the series, because I contest that this series is not a good series for people to start with, because it's a lot more complex than people think. But we'll get to it. Let's say hi to everyone. Christopher, what's going on? He's Belgium's playing some soccer.
No. There's only 2 places in the world that call it soccer. And we've got them both here.
We're outnumbered. Soccer outnumbers football.
Dale, what's going on? Good to see you. Steven, how you doing? Nordic, hello.
He's here for his copy of Knock Paris.
No.
Yep. Viper Dave, what's going on? Viper. Jeffrey, what is going on? Mike Butter Jelly, he was doing our thing last night with us, so thanks for coming by last night. We'll talk about that here in a second. Meandering Mike, hello. Marnie. Joanna,
Brisbane.
what is going on from
Or
Brisbane?
as the Americans call it, Brisbane for some reason.
Brisbane.
You mean like Birmingham?
Birmingham.
Right.
Brisbane. Yeah.
Kevin, what's going on? Historic Wings, hello. Extra Squeaky, good to see everyone. Edward, William Bird, hello. Coy was
Everybody's here.
part of your thing, Ruff.
Yeah, I mean, most of them you said are part of it.
Paul, good afternoon.
Oh,
Richard,
Portland,
Kerr,
yeah.
how you doing?
Sure.
Thomas. Right.
Hot and
Let's see
humid.
here. There was a
Oh,
question that I was going to get to here in a second.
It's very hot and humid here in the States.
Luca, what's going on? Fire Joe, what's going on there, buddy?
I know, great. Sorry, no.
Marco, good to see you. So we have a question. Wise guy, where in Australia do you get your games from?
From the USA.
It's crazy over there. It's crazy, isn't it? It's worse than
From the
over
USA,
here.
Australia. Yeah, yep. Look, I've talked in the past. Often, I get most of my games from a lot of them from GMT, but often direct from the publisher, or secondhand market. Look, there's not. It's really dying. It's getting worse. I think I spoke about this last time I was on. How it is so hard, and it's getting worse because one of the big wargaming companies isn't stocking. The biggest historically just isn't stocking wargames much anymore.
And you've got
The shipping cost is so much.
shipping must be astronomical.
Shipping. So I used to do a bulk order once a year. I used to get a box of maybe half a dozen games. I look forward to the GMT sale, which is July this year. Everyone should be aware of that.
Nope.
No,
It's now September. They made a
They moved
mistake.
it, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they posted
that's sad.
July, and now they've gone back and said, "Oh, wait a minute,
Oh,
they're not
I'm gonna
doing it
have
in
to wait.
July, they're going to do it in September."
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm going to have to wait until September now
Yeah.
to get my order from GMT. But that's
But,
usually
yeah, I think Canada is the other place that has a real bad time of getting stuff, and shipping across, from one adjacent country to another is, again, astronomical. So we don't do too bad over here, but yeah, I feel for you guys.
Is there? I mean, what's the sort of size of the war game community in Australia? Is there?
Sydney's great. The capital cities are great. Sydney has some really wonderful groups plural.
Not just one.
Not just one, yeah. But I'm out in the country, so there's got a couple of local friends who I play with, but this is why I mainly play solo, because my friends locally, they're not heavy war gamers. They will play Hannibal Rome versus Carthage, usually Piles of Glory, but nothing deeper than that.
You mean they won't play Atlantic Wall with you?
Or even one of the Simonich games.
No, even they're too long. We play games that you can play in a single sitting, pretty much. Maybe a long day. Here I Stand. We played Here I Stand.
Or what was the one I saw? You were playing La Bataille. I was looking at some of your older videos.
Yeah. So this is what, and that took 4 months to play.
Oh,
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
wow.
Well, we also have Brazil in the house.
Brazil,
as well.
we are international.
Jim,
Well,
how you
a lot
doing,
of-
Jim?
A lot of places won't ship to Brazil. So I've been thinking about Brazilians a lot lately, and they a lot of companies won't ship to Brazil because of postal issues and stuff. So that's one place I'll never move to because you can't import.
Yeah, it's terrible to say.
Yeah, you can add 2 or 3 more games
Yeah.
to your order. There you go. Yeah, I know you've been doing a lot of 7-inch games, and we all love those games and stuff. But man, I'm telling you what, I played Normandy 44 again, thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be a piece of cake to pick it back up, and it's not. There's a lot going on in these games.
Yeah.
And
Should have
for
done the
me,
Dark
it's just
Summer.
like they are not very, I guess,
It's
beginner friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, Normandy isn't. And look, I like the campaign. I like to play Normandy games, but they're often so grindy and
Well, like Atlantic Wall. I watched your
Yeah.
review this past week.
it was tiring. It was exhausting. I was so relieved when that was over.
And it's not an easy rule set, is it? It's not.
No. But Normandy's a tough one. It's not. It's one of the least fun
I
Civics
think
games to play.
everybody says Salerno and Holland.
I
That's
don't.
the two favourite ones.
I like Ardennes. Ardennes is amazing. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
That's the only one I ain't got.
It's the best.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Oh, it's the best. It is just.
But
I
do
think
you
I'm waiting for it to be
like that
reprinted.
one because of the puzzle of trying to figure out how to get units around on the roads and everything, right?
Yeah. Every unit you move is like, wow, where can they go? And there's so many decisions available. It's the same reason I love Last Blitzkrieg. This is why I like Bulge games, because Bulge games, Battle of the Bulge games, they give you these really interesting puzzles to solve. The 116th Panzer Division has broken through, and now what do? They can go to the west. So many different directions. Which one's best? And it's facing those decisions. That's what I love most about gaming, is having these really interesting decisions, weighing up the options, and then picking one and going with it.
Well, there's a Bulge game coming out, The Last Gamble from Compass, in July.
Yes.
And Parker's game.
Yeah, there aren't many of them. We need another one. There aren't many Bulge.
Yeah.
I was
Never
gonna
heard
say,
of this Bulge. Where does this Bulge?
I think I have enough.
I'm joking. Or am I?
What did you think so far of because for everyone on the show, look what's on the. You can see
Can't
it.
see-
Move
it across.
Just a little bit over, okay.
Oh my goodness! You see, it starts.
What did you think of North Africa? Because there's no Zoc bonds.
I'll do a review, but to be frank, it's one of my least favorites because there's not much decision making. As I was just saying, I love Ardennes because there's so many decisions.
Yeah.
North Africa 41 is just a grind. You're often just on a turn. Some turns, all I'm doing is moving my supplies up, and then I'm done.
It's because it's expensive. It's one of his early games as well. Before he came, before he thought.
Yeah. So it's
and like any sort of North African game, it's just the advanced. But you've got to get from A to B and bring your supply. So it's a mad dash. I get what you're saying, but I do love North Africa games. I'm sorry, just because it's the bits.
Yeah, I like it. I like all Simic games. They're none of them are bad games, but I'd probably rate it pretty low in the sort of scale of.
You need to do a video on ranking them, all the different.
Yeah,
ones.
I'm gonna this week.
Right?
He's thought of that. Don't you worry. He's doing all these. He knows where the views are. You see. He knows what he's doing.
I love it.
I'd be interested in your comparison to North Africa 41 to the Dark Summer. Excuse me, the Dark Sands.
Dark Sands, yeah, I've got that. That's behind me.
And then again, you're playing Theseus. Completely different game.
Yeah.
Again, some people call that a grind because of the length of the turns. I love the system. If to video though, it's not the greatest thing because that's why when I did Aachen, I did Boog River.
I just saw that. Hey, Arnie.
Yeah, I did as well.
Arnie, what's going on, buddy?
Because I'm over here.
I mean that's my
not an
hometown. That's my con right there. Origins, boy.
Yeah, but I'm
Columbus,
saying
Ohio.
with
everyone's
Boog
having
River,
fun in Oregon.
I only did 3 turns, I think, because a turn takes. I mean, Mo and Kev did Boog River, and they spent 3 hours. They hadn't finished turn 1, so that peed them off a bit.
Yeah, it's a monster. They're monster games.
I love
they're deceptively.
Deceptively
huge.
Because I watched your videos on Aachen and I found it looked really cool. I like the components, the graphic style looked really good. But then when I saw just how long it takes to go through one turn, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to another game.
But the good thing is, if you're playing it face to face, you're not sitting there. There's reactions.
Yeah.
So you're not sort of, it's your turn. I'm going to put the kettle on and see. I'm going to read a book or watch
I came last year. I can't come every year. I would spoil you guys. I would spoil you if I kept coming every year. And I was at Buckeye Game Fest earlier. Remember that? Hey, Ruff, we got a comment for you.
Oh, thank you. Another great game. So thank you, Melbert.
And Ruff, you can combine RAF with Skies.
I know, and not on the channel because it's just basically because they're both long games. So but I'll probably do that in the privacy of my own bedroom.
So there is actually a subject for this episode. Not that we'll probably get a chance to talk about it with all these big mouths going on. But our subject this week is, I figured since we have a professor over here, we got a professor over here, we got an ex-teacher over here.
No, tutor. I'm not an ex-teacher.
Teacher, whatever. I figured we would be talking about things.
Don't call me a teacher. They have too much holidays.
We learn, because I know this. My wife was a teacher for 30 years.
Yeah,
I did a little bit of teaching for a couple of years before I moved down here. When you get teaching in your blood, it's all about learning, and you think about that all the time. Am I full of it, or am I saying the truth?
No, we don't learn anything. No.
We just splurged our knowledge out to get paid. That's
right. Exactly. We talk for a living.
Yeah.
So our subject is, what have you learned lately? And lately could be, we'll just say the last 6 months or whatever. And this could be anything from you learned you enjoy these kind of games, you don't enjoy these kind of games, you learned what games you like to have on your channel, you learned how long it takes to run, to play games, you learn about supply, you learn about logistics, you learn about tactics, you learn about whatever. What did you learn in the last 6 months? I'm sure you learned something if you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about later in the show. Think about it, guys. Think about, what have you learned in the last 6 months? And we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Coming up here in a little bit. So there you go. So there is a subject. Like I said, we'll probably get to be talking and babbling and everything else. I will mention, normally the show is over at 6 o'clock, but my wife is gone. So I have nothing going on. So if the show runs over, it runs over.
So you're walking around in your underpants with a can of beer. Excellent.
So yeah. So if the show runs over, pardon me, I might just be here by myself talking, but who cares?
That's good. That's good. I've got one of those coming up, but of course it's late at night. The family go, I can't go because of this thing, and also I don't like camping. I just don't do camping. They're going to a festival, folk festival. I used to go, but they're going off. So that's my underpants and can of beer moment, So
and me after the show's over, I gotta go read and do a book review on the American economics in the Jacksonian era.
Oh my God! Oh,
that's for one of my classes.
Oh my God! Party at ID Jester's house.
Yeah, party.
The other thing we talk about this with a lot of our guests, but Wise Guy, you mesh in your wargaming with your Euro games just like I do.
Yep.
And you like your Euros just as much, and you're proud of it. A lot of people keep it under the table. They don't want to talk about it. I broadcast. I talk about it all the time. I love it.
It's like the love that shall never be mentioned. It's that sort of thing. I have no problem. Just haven't got time. But yeah, it's good. It's good to see Euros. I'm not a great Euro person, Nathan. I'm more of a Ameritrash. Chuck dice and kill zombies.
Yeah.
That's me. I love them.
But you'd spend just about as much time.
Yeah,
a good portion.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say just as much, but you spend a good portion playing Euro games.
Yeah. Probably just as much.
Kids and family and stuff.
How often do you think you're able to play?
Sorry?
I mean, how often do you are you able to play throughout a typical week?
As much as friends and kids will let me. I want to play games every night, but the kids and my wife
Yeah,
that
you're
team-
so lucky. You're so lucky. I mean, my wife is terribly with her job. She's, I do what I do. I'm getting on a bit now. I'm sort of winding down. She's like, doing her stuff. She's working all the hours. And my daughter certainly wouldn't. My youngest daughter certainly wouldn't want to play this nonsense, Dad. And neither does my boy, because he's like me. He's a musician, so that's something. He's all into that, like I was at his age, and I just want to say, come on, let's play something, even if it's not a war game. Let's play something, but no time. But yeah. I envy you.
Yeah, when we can. We played Ark Nova last night. That was fun. My wife and I have been playing the Seventh Citadel. So that's set up on the table. It's like a game that you set up and leave.
What's that like? Everybody's going on about. There's a new one out, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the new one. So Seventh Continent was the original.
And
we played that and loved it. And now Seventh Citadel came out this year, and it's a sequel, and it's brilliant. It solves all the problems I had.
It's going to be getting. He's going to be looking.
It's really good. It's a really good two-player game. We sit side by side and work together, negotiate. What are we going to do here? And
so it's a great cooperative game, yeah.
Great co-op.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Good kind of.
Yeah, that's the only problem with it. I'd never bought the original because you're going to have to run several characters, and if you're going to do it solo, you're going to have to run all those characters by yourself. So.
Yeah, you could. I mean, it's not really about how many characters. I mean, my wife and I could just play one character. You could just play. I think it would work really well solo. I don't think I've done it solo, but it would work really well solo. Just one character exploring this world. The characters. The game wants you to think you're kind of attached to a character, but it's really about what you're doing in that world, and exploring the map, and solving puzzles, and
adventuring,
and
Oh, talking about games that you've played on your channel, Nathan, Hexplore It has got a new one out.
Yeah, I saw that on Kickstarter at the moment.
I've gone for it.
I'm afraid to mention Kickstarter after.
No, I know. But I've also ordered the first one, the Thing of the King one, which you can't
Valley
get.
of the Dead King.
Yes.
Lock and load, everyone. Lock and load.
Lock and load. Sorry. So yes, because I've got the Noxus. What do they call it? The latest one. Not played it yet. Mike Berticelli keeps trying to get me to play it with him online. So when I get the time, I'm going to do that because it looks really good. I've got the expansion and everything, So, but you enjoyed it, yeah?
Yeah. I tried to get my family to play that. So I got my wife and my son to start, and they didn't like it. So we packed it up and I reset it myself and played it. It's a better solo game than it was playing with other people. Just individually, solo, exploring a game kind of thing, using your characters. I think it's all about character development and using their powers and unlocking their powers.
But in Hexplore It.
Yeah.
I mean, the latest one, they've also got dungeons hidden away where you can go down in and explore the dungeons.
Yeah, cool.
But it plays great solo.
Yeah.
You've played it, Jess, haven't you? You've played the.
Yeah, I played it. It was fine. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It's one of those life cycle games where you can just expansion after expansion and add on after add on, and you can make it as big as you want. So it's got potential.
I almost backed. I don't remember, a couple months ago when I think it was Mythwind that was on Kickstarter, and I ended up not doing it.
Good choice.
It looked interesting on the surface, but the more I delve into what it was about,
I got that.
You did,
and look, asymmetrical player powers. So 4 different characters in the box, and they all have completely different rules.
Right.
And so I thought I'll get this for the kids, and they can be the farmer and all this. And they hated it straight away. And my wife and I played it, and it's just so repetitive and. You do the same thing over and over and over and over, and there's no end. The game doesn't end.
That was one of the sort of selling points of the game.
Yeah, but it's so there's not enough interesting stuff happening to justify that.
Oh, Ruff decided to leave. All right. Sorry about that, everyone.
Well, I guess it's good that I didn't back it.
He hates Mistwin so much. He heard the word, and look, it's a decent, simple game. Not enough to be a perpetual game. I think if something's going to be sold as perpetual, you can play this forever. it's got to have enough interesting stuff going on to make you want to play it forever, and it didn't. So I've sold it already. I sold it. It's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I know there was one I played a few weeks ago, Small World. And I enjoyed that. It was my first time playing it. It's kind of a little bit like a war game, because I mean you have to fight and everything, but it was fun with all the different races and then the different powers they could have.
And there's a Small World app as well. So if you liked it, you can get I think it was an iOS, so an Apple iPad app, and play it forever. Once the games come out on apps, I often sell my copy because I'm like, oh, if I want to play this, I'll just play it on the app. Agricola, Through the Ages, Small World.
I still love getting the games out. I don't care. I like having the cards in my hand. I like rolling the dice. I have Through the Ages, and I buy the app too, but I mean, I still gonna keep it because I just love having and playing it myself and showing it off on the channel too.
Yeah. You know, that was something I wanted to bring up to ask you about, because I was really interested in your video, Nathan, recently on overcoming wargame morale. And I know you talked a lot about Vassal, and you did mention, I almost left a comment and then like halfway through the video, and then you addressed it before I could write the comment about that. Like, I look at a screen all day long in university I'm at. And so when I get home, that's sort of the last thing I want to do is keep looking at a screen. And so was it just really the ease of getting into the game as opposed to pulling it out and setting it up and having to take the time to like the Dark Valley? Like, I love the Dark Valley, but it takes a long time to set up.
I think it was North Africa, because I wanted to set North Africa up, and I didn't have it's really long map. I didn't have the space for at the time, because I've got 7th Citadel set up in the background. And I was like, I really want to play this right now. And so I just thought, I'll try Vassal. It's the first time I'd ever learned a game on Vassal, and I found it so easy to get started. I think did I do North Africa first or Salerno? Maybe I did Salerno first.
I think it was Salerno.
Yeah, and I just thought, this is so easy to do. And I had a lot of fun.
And I'm telling you what, you haven't like really experienced Vassal, but there are some awesome modules out there, like GTS. Like, it'll auto calculate all the things for you. Target, and you can select your unit, and then you can select the target. It'll auto calculate everything for you. It's awesome. And it actually helps you learn to play, because you're like, how is that a +2? And you look and oh yeah, that's right. I forget it gets a +1 because of this, blah blah blah. So
you're right. It makes it easier to learn, and anything that can ease that barrier.
I've been really interested in, because I really enjoyed your videos on the East Front series, and I got Army Group Center, the 2nd edition, and wanted to get into it, and I look at it and I'm kind of overwhelmed on what do I do? And Vassal seems like it might be a good way to start learning that.
I've been thinking about East Front on Vassal lately, because I love it. It's a brilliant series, Vance von Boris, but it is so big, and there are so many charts and tables and reinforcement sheets that when I play East Front, like one title in the series, my couches are full with charts and stuff. and I don't have the space. And I was thinking, well, maybe now that I'm getting to Vassal, I was thinking about this just the other day, maybe I'll go to East Front and play it by Vassal, because it's the air war as well. I used to hate the air war, because I just had to get up and walk around the other side of the table to find my air units and do all this kind of stuff, because that's where I had the air unit sheet, and walk back around to where the air combat was, and it'd take me 5 minutes of walking back and forth. So it was all one air combat. I was thinking, well, Vassal can do this. Click, click, click. Done.
It's interesting, because I've been saying this for years, and everyone poo-poos me, and now that you say it, everyone's like, yeah.
Well, Stigler's been saying for years, why do people play face-to-face games anymore? Look, I always will. I'll always have my map set out, but I'm thinking, like, I've got Theseus set out here now, but I think I'll be doing more of the same, of both at the same time. Always have a map.
Here's my problem. Like, you're a YouTuber, so you've experienced this and the lights and the cameras and everything, and you got cables. Like, How many times have you had like to reposition your camera? Your cord knocks over your counters. You got to pick them all back up and put them back where they're supposed to go.
Yep.
Vassal, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Nah,
it looks good for the viewers.
Yep.
Everything's in focus. They can see everything. I mean, how many times when you zoom out, they're not going to be able to tell what's what going on your table.
I'm pretty sure the last time I played Stalingrad 42 on my table, I bumped my microphone. Was it my microphone or my camera, which landed on counters, which sent them flying. And so that happens a lot. I
don't know. I feel one of the things that stopped me from doing more Vassal is I for some reason I don't feel as connected to the game because I can't physically touch I love the tactileness of war games, of board games in general. And I like that when I can step back and see the whole thing in perspective, whereas I have to keep clicking around.
Yeah.
And even when you zoom out, the pieces are so small that you can't really tell what's there.
So I had that with Goss. So I tried to play Wacht and Ryan on Vassal, and I found that exact what you're just saying, that I couldn't connect. It didn't feel tactile. But the Simonich games feel different for some reason. And it's really interesting. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know why. I haven't thought about it enough. But yeah, I've been having the same thing because I've always felt. I tried last Blitzkrieg on Vassal, kind of fell out of it, lost interest. I tried Time for Trumpets on Vassal, found the same thing. I tried Goss on Vassal, fell out of it. But lately, these Simonich games work really well on Vassal. I don't know what it is about them. The lighter density. I don't know. Maybe it's the type of game I'm playing on Vassal.
Yeah.
These games just work better on Vassal.
There's only been one game I know that I really connected with on Vassal. I was able to play it all the way through, and that was When Eagles Fight. And I think it's because I could concentrate on the German part of the front and then the Austro-Hungarian part of the front, and I had everything there. Welcome back, Ruff.
Don't ask.
It's not the cat, was it?
No, it's worse than that. It was the wife.
The wife?
Yeah, moving wires at the back of the internet has knocked me off, and we had to wait for it to reconnect. I'm not happy chappy.
I thought you were so excited
right.
you went and got your copy of Tide of Iron.
No, what I've done is I thought, shall I go off in a huff? No, I was going to, no. Yes, I'm back now.
Well, you started making me think for a moment, like, what did we do?
No, I think she just moved the back trying to get something and it's knocked a wire out, and that was it. Bang, we're gone. So
it's like, I've had enough with all these history people.
What have I missed?
I figured you'd be back. If not,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because stuff happens, doesn't it? So
no, Jester, what he's going to do is he's going to leave and go live on his own channel right now.
I might. I could do double. That would be awesome.
Oh, there you go.
I get all the views from this, and then do my live stream. Wow, that'd be awesome.
If I tried that on this computer, I could fry an egg.
So, Ruff, we were talking about something I think you need to catch up and talk about, because we're talking about how Wise Guy really is fallen in love with Vassal and how it's made his playing much easier and much better. And I know you don't feel the same way.
Well, let's put it this way. Ask me this a year ago, and it looks like something out of the 90s. Oh, God, no, give me the counters and all that. Yeah. But since playing live with you guys, and Tony and that, and playing Vassal's the only way we can do it. My love for it, and I think love's too strong a word. My acceptance of it, acceptance of it is gone up over time. So I appreciate that it's a great way to play face to face with people, especially in different countries. Wonderful. But as a thing. See, I get enjoyment. I know Nathan was saying about setting the game up and all that. I get a bit of enjoyment putting the game out, getting the counters out, putting them down, using the tweezers, putting them out all nice, looking back and going, "Oh, that looks good." And then the cat jumps on the table and I scream and cry in the corner. But Yeah, I mean, I have more acceptance of Vassal now, and even Tony mentioned it playing. I think he mentioned one of the top highlights of the year when he was on the channel, that it was that Ruff actually is starting to like or appreciate Vassal a bit more, which I do. But not my I wouldn't use it. I don't think I'd use it to do a video with. Let's put it that way.
So you'll play. We'll see if you try. Like, I was curious to try the Atlantic Chase.
That's a great Vassal because it goes click, 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 and makes all the noises. But
yeah, I haven't messed with it, so I'm curious to try it out at some point.
That's a game that I wouldn't want to try in Vassal because it's so tactile. Like the wooden blocks feel so good.
See, that's how I feel about games. Is the actual with the wooden blocks. It's quite nice.
You also have to worry about space, and we were talking about this while you were gone, lighting and cameras, and if you're trying to record it for people, you got you got your cables that are dangling everywhere. I mean, it's a nightmare. People don't realize being a YouTuber is not easy.
That's But yeah, I get it. And I'm not dissing anybody that loves it, but everybody has an opinion.
Oh, yes, we feel it. We feel it. You're dissing everyone.
I know, I do. But, your opinion of Vassal is just as important as mine. And none of them are correct. It's just one woman's view, and they're all valid and they're all good.
Well, and I found it interesting in your video, Nathan, when you were talking about Vassal and morale, was that you also, you get to experience something like the campaign for North Africa, where you might not get to do that in a tactile setting.
And she is. That's the reason. That's the reason. Silly moo, fiddling behind wires. Anyway.
And the rules are online, and so you don't have to worry about pulling out this long, huge map and having, because it'll be set up for who knows how long if you tried to pull it out.
Yeah, you can save your game. I've got on my desk. They're open right now. I've got North Africa and Stalingrad right there. 2 games, and they're just here on my
Yeah.
So that look, the convenience factor.
Yeah, I get it. And I don't know if I think I mentioned this in the green room. I don't know. Not sure if we're playing next week. I'm playing Tony on Vassal, playing a bit of musket and pike. What are you laughing at?
You froze when you were thinking, and I thought, man, he's taking a long time to think.
He's like, let me think.
And then, no. Oh, I see. Yes, there's probably still gremlins in the thing, but so that's going to be great. And he just says, I'll just save this and click. Yeah, it's done. I get it. And I love playing peeps on it. I have to use Vassal. That's great. That's the medium I have to use.
That's right. You and your yellow tank.
Yellow tank, yeah. And yellow submarine. Yeah.
They all get blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she is B4M.
She's a beauty, all right.
I am certainly punching way above my weight.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so I've got nothing against Vassal. It's just my favourite.
Yeah, I've always had the same view, Ruff. I've never liked playing on Vassal. That's changed over the last month or two.
And that happened.
It's never worked for me. Never worked. I've never been able to play it on Vassal for a long period of time. Whenever I go to Vassal, it ends up dying. Like my gameplay, I end up stop playing. Time for Trumpets, Last Blitzkrieg, Goss. It's just the last month or two.
I think my affection for Vassal is increasing because I'm also starting to get used to how it works. It used to frustrate me that I've got 10 thumbs when it comes to Vassal, and it was frustrating for me.
The other thing I would suggest, Ruff.
Yes,
I know we talked about this, but if there's a way for you to get 2 monitors, again, you have your map up over here, and then you have your counters and your add-ons and all your other sheets over here on your other monitor.
I know. Has that been helpful for you, Nathan? Do you have 2 monitors where you can have like the rules?
Yeah, I know, and that's the idea. Yeah, I get it. But here, where I remember, I'm at the other end of the lounge. I'm in our living room. and up there is the telly and the sofa and all that and table, and down here I've commandeered the other half of the living room, so that's it. And I've run out of space, and there's piles of games here, there's piles of games here, there's piles of games on my other table. So I'd love to get 2 monitors, but I think it's going to have to wait until I get till I win the pools, till I win the lottery.
Well, and your shelves are getting more full now because now you're buying history books.
I know, and it's because of you.
Oh, this is the other thing I do.
Yeah, see what he's made me buy, Nathan.
Yeah, nice.
It's a great book.
Cost me a $5.
Yeah.
$5. Yeah.
Flying Colours. Have you played that, Nathan? Flying Colours?
No. I used to love close action. I used to play a lot of close action.
It's great. It's a great system. It's not hard. It's you're controlling fleets. It's a good book.
What was the chart you were showing?
Well, this is the other thing I do when I play Vassal sometimes is put all my charts on one thing. I can often post that to the wall, and it's just all the charts.
I see. Somebody else using their company's blooming printing things. Yeah. He does that and all.
That way,
whatever works, man. Whatever works.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
So
I think there's obviously a lot of advantages to Vassal, but
there are. I don't knock it. I have to use it, And
I think if you tried and used it some more, you'd probably like it. You'd probably start to like it.
Well, as Tony said, I'm really pleased that Ruff has now started to like Vassal a little bit more, and I have. And don't push me. Don't it'll happen naturally, and it has. It's sort of like
Well, it just seems. I mean, just with how easy it is to move between games, that you'll be able to play more games through Vassal.
Yeah, but on a 2D blooming 90s looking sort of, Windows 98 blooming looking. It's just it doesn't inspire me. Where if you set a game up and you've got great counters and a map and you look at it and you go, I'm frightened to move anything, which is the thing you were talking about, Nathan. That looks so beautiful. I don't want to move anything because if I do, I've got to set it up again. But that's what I love. That's me. That's me.
Yeah, because I remember seeing your video on the Dark Valley, and you had it all set up and everything, and I was like, "Oh, I love this game. I'd love to hear his thoughts on it." And then you didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, a game like that in particular, everyone says you've got to do your opening moves perfectly, or it's game over for the Germans. And I was like, "What are the perfect moves then?" And so then I moved to Vassal, and I had to set it up all over again on Vassal, and that's where I stopped.
Yeah, that's sort of sorry. If that's what the game says, you've got to move these correctly to. Yeah, that's not a game I'd play then.
No, I could tell you after I've played it probably 5 or 6 times, just the Barbarossa scenario, and I also played once the Kursk scenario. It's not that. It's not first move and then it's kind of over. You can still make really good progress, and I had it in one. I remember in one game I played, I was in something like, I think it was the end of August 1941, and I was already at Smolensk, and I knew that unfortunately I had to take it down because I had it on my dining room table and I was having people come over, but I knew that I would be able to take Moscow by the end of the year. I knew there wasn't much standing in my way, and I knew I had made bad decisions beforehand, and he dropped again.
Mamie, I didn't touch anything. I can say I didn't touch anything this time.
So, Nathan, it's definitely worth trying it again.
Yeah, well, I've got it right behind me. That's it there on the couch.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. I am curious too, because I remember you mentioned in your video that you had it set up roughly historically where divisions were. At least you tried to put them where you thought historically different corps and divisions were. I haven't found there is no correct order of battle for where everything is in that game. I'd love to find something.
I don't know how I did that. I don't know. I can't. It's been a while. It's been about 18 months, I think. So because that was the start of last year. So it's been about 18 months. Yeah.
Sorry, I did a Tony. I closed the tabs. Sorry.
I think it might have been. I think it was maybe not long after you had done the East Front series, and so maybe you were still familiar with.
Yeah, that might have been it. Because East Front's amazing.
What is your favorite area of World War II to game? Is it East Front? Is it West Front? Is it Pacific? Is it Mediterranean? What's your go-to?
I like the bulge because, as I said before, it gives you the so many bulge games gives you these really interesting decision points. So when the Germans first break through, and then the roads open up and the Americans are coming in to block them. So the Americans have got interesting decisions about where to set up these roadblocks, where to try to stop them. And the Germans have to, you've got most games, you've got a German force strength or your attacking strength. So you're weighing up your attack factors with all these little roadblocks. And you've got to think, okay, where can I try to punch through? What are my chances of success? Do I take a forest road, which is going to slow me down but be more weakly defended, or do I go along the highway where it's well defended? I love that kind of the decisions there that you're making. You're weighing up different roads with different defenses, with different sort of supply considerations and reinforcements coming through, and what can get you further west. It's not just about breaking through, but what's going to happen next? If I break through on this forest road, can reinforcements get through there, or is it just going to be, ultimately a dead end?
And then as the Germans, they're trying to break through to sort of Antwerp and that. So that would be a great two-player game. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it'll play solo okay if you play. You know what the Germans have got to do. They've got a set thing to do, haven't they? Basically, what is your favourite? Is it Ardennes?
Yeah, I like East Front games. I like the big attempts to encircle Soviet forces. So East Front does that really well. You get these big encirclements around Minsk and all that kind of stuff going on. I like that, but they're different decisions. I like how Ardennes. So Stalingrad 42.
So what's your favourite bulge game? Have you got more than one, or is it just Ardennes?
Last Blitzkrieg. I like Last Blitzkrieg. It's very similar. Feels very similar to Ardennes.
That's the BCS one, isn't it?
That's BCS. It's a bit more complex, but more decisions to make. They're both brilliant. They'd be like top two easily, and Ardennes 44 is just behind Last Blitzkrieg. It's easier to play. It's not as sort of not as brain burning. There are points in Last Blitzkrieg where I'm often double checking rules and things like that, but that really,
What did you think of what was it, the Deadly Woods, the dark?
Look, it's fun. It's fun, but it doesn't feel historical. It just feels like it's a fun game.
And there's the one that I think that Jester likes, and it's been mentioned in the chat, the Worthington Bulge game.
1940, Battle of the Bulge, 1944.
Nice easy game.
Yeah, that looked more like a game as well. So Deadly Woods and Bulge, was it Bulge 44? Is that what it's called? I haven't played Bulge 44, but I've watched a couple of playthroughs, and it just looked very much like a fun game rather than sort of.
I tell you, that's what it is. It's not an in-depth.
No,
you're not going to learn anything. It's just a fun little block. You're going to put blocks out. Yeah.
I tell you, I'm very much intimidated by Time for Trumpets.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Like, no way am I going to get that out on the table.
Oh,
mine's still in the shrink.
It's actually not that hard to learn, but it's slow. It's very slow.
What do you think about the rules that you can't do you have to do certain things, I understand, at certain times to make it historical. You can't sort of go off script at certain things.
Look, well, my favorite game is Paths of Glory, which goes completely off script. And I think I play games.
It's a fun game, doesn't it?
Yeah, I play games to have fun ultimately, or to have these interesting decisions. And Paths of Glory does that perfectly for me. So I prefer games that, even if they go off script a little bit, I don't know how historical Last Blitzkrieg is. I don't care that much. But it
Well,
does, it is
historical in the
really-
fact you've got the orders of battle and you starting places. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's historical enough for me. And then as soon as you
Yeah.
move, it's not.
Exactly. Well, 100%. That's my view as well. As soon as
Yeah.
you move a unit, you're not historical. A
No.
unit's taking a different road to they did historically, so you're breaking
Time for
history. Not
trumpets.
history.
There's this thing you can't move here. You can't do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Some people love it. I'm not knocking the game. Just saying it seems a little bit constricting.
Yeah. Look,
I
like
don't
the
know because I've
system.
not played it. I don't own it.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I like the system. I don't really care about the stringent accuracy. You're not allowed to move units until they're released, things like that. Look, if it helps create a balance, if it helps balance the game, that's okay. So I don't mind games that lock units in. So in For Blau, for example, the Soviets along the front are locked in. They can't be released because that's what Stalin did historically. But it helps create a balance. It stops the Russians from pulling back and winning every time.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like that when it creates a game balance, when it's good for the game. When it's being done for historical accuracy, whatever.
Read a book. Read a book.
Yeah.
Don't start me on books.
You just got a book. Go read it,
Yeah,
bro.
I know. And it's
That's
great.
right.
I started to read it as well.
Nice.
Not
Excellent.
too easy to read in bed because I like to read in bed, like rule books. I know you take
Well, it's a huge book.
so
So
it's like this. I'm like, no, that's not working. So,
Do you do any ancients?
I was going to ask.
Oh, sorry, Nate. Sorry, Nate's our
preempted me.
ancient expert here, and he loves the ancients. So, you
Yeah, I
do
go
any-
through not lately. I mean, Hannibal, Rome versus Carthage. One of my good wargaming buddies is an ancient historian. He's a classicist. He teaches Latin and ancient Rome. And he's a hardcore Roman historian, and he likes to play a lot of these ancient games. So Successors, Hannibal, Rome versus Carthage, Caesar, Rome versus Gaul. Again, these are the type of games that we can play in a single sitting. We've played Pax Romana, Republic of Rome, stuff like that. I've got SPQR and
don't
Julius
buy it.
Caesar.
Oh, you've got it. Oh, because they're bringing out a new one. Buggers.
Oh, really?
There's a fifth.
Yeah,
edition.
you've got to buy an upgrade kit if you want to keep.
So I
up
used to
with it.
play. I used to play SPQR, but that's just a bit too heavy. I'll play that solo.
Yeah, I play that solo. I mean, I don't think it's. I'd probably play it because I forget a lot of the rules. I don't think it's once you get into it, it's okay, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, Great Battles of the American Civil War is more crunchy. That I find like a head scratching blooming thing, which I've got a few of. But yeah, GBOH. Yeah, I like it because it's like Nate does. No, I don't like it because it's just lines of troops going crunch.
Yeah,
And I like that as a solo player because you know what's going to happen.
I
Might get some horsey things going around the outside,
about a decade ago. I played. Is it Cannae or Hannibal's? Double envelopment, the famous double envelopment. And I was the Roman, and I played this on Vassal with a friend who lived 5 hours away. And as the Romans, I turtled. So my front line just went like this. And his flanks came around and he hit my flank and he couldn't break through.
He went, they're not supposed to do that.
And he never played with me again.
Oh,
He was really angry. He's like, you can't. The Romans didn't do that. I was like,
it doesn't matter. I did that.
I did.
And we never
That's
played
what I
again.
love, because you expect, if you know the game, if you know the battle historically, you go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm coming around the. What's he doing? No. So yeah, that's what I love, because you don't got to rethink your tactics. You've got to rethink, and that's what I love about it.
It was the kind of what if the Romans didn't just go charging down the middle, but they just kind of defended and pulled into a semi horseshoe.
Next time I play that with somebody, I'm going to try that.
I know you didn't. I think it was one of your reviews, Pax Romana, that you didn't particularly care for that.
Oh, the combat! I loved it. I loved Pax.
Oh, you loved it. Okay.
We didn't like. Well, my friend hated. I won, so he. I liked it, but he was the Romans, and
sounds like you got a weird group of friends over there in Wise Guy. Everyone's pissed off at you for winning.
You don't play the game. You don't go buy the book.
This game really punishes the Roman player because they've got their legions and they're expensive, and they come charging into these battles against these Gallic tribes, and they might outnumber them 3-1, but then they'll lose 30% of their troops, so they've lost 4 legions in this winning battle, and he was really frustrated that he's losing so many, and it's really punishing to.
Okay.
It's an unforgiving combat system.
I have the second edition, but I haven't yet played it. I will say I do really love Imperium Romanum from Al Nofi's Imperium Romanum.
Oh yeah. I've watched a lot of
games you're
players.
mentioning. Sorry. As a newbie, are these games you're mentioning more sort of Euro-ishness to them, or are they pure war games?
They're kind of. I mean, they're kind of. I'd say they're war games. They're not hexing. Well,
no, that's fine.
I mean, Pax Romana is a Richard Berg game.
Yeah, point to point.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's kind of he did the same. He did Pax Romana, and then he went and did Genesis, which is more or less the same system, but in the Bronze Age, the collapse of the Bronze Age, and but then he went and did the Rise of the Roman Republic, Carthage, and then Thunderbolt's coming out. Which
right, so that's that sort of system, is it?
That's the hex counter is Thunderbolt, Rise of the Roman Republic. Genesis and Pax Romana is the point to point.
Right.
But there's similar things across them that I've seen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to Thunderbolt. So,
it's already past 5, so we got to get busy on our Today in History.
Oh God, I've been drinking. What? Hey?
Oh my gosh!
How many planes does he have to show us today?
Oh, I tell you what, you do. I love my planes. Me and Thomas, hopefully, anyway. All right, let's do it. Let's get it out of the way. Okay. So, 22nd of June, 1807, in the Chesapeake. Is it? How do you pronounce that?
Chesapeake. Yes,
it is Chesapeake. Yeah, I know it is in the Chesapeake Leopard affair. Don't know if you heard about that. The British warship HMS Leopard attacks and boards the American frigate USS Chesapeake. This affair was a naval engagement off the coast of Norfolk, Virginia, today in 1807, between the British fourth-rate HMS Leopard and the American frigate USS Chesapeake. The crew of Leopard pursued, attacked, and boarded the American frigate, looking for deserters from the Royal Navy. Chesapeake was caught unprepared, and after a short battle involving broadsides received from Leopard, the commander of Chesapeake, James Barron, surrendered his vessel to the British. Chesapeake had fired only one shot. 4 crew members were removed from the American vessel and were tried for desertion, one of whom was subsequently hanged. Chesapeake was allowed to return home, where James Barron was court-martialed and relieved of command. We weren't at war at that time. We just knew that there was some during the Napoleonic Wars. They were sort of deserting a little bit because they were stationed in that part of the world to blockade Napoleon's fleet from supplies and things, and they just deserted and went across to you guys.
Well, Americans were impressed, weren't they? Weren't Americans sort of impressed into service in the Royal Navy? Wasn't it a factor in the?
No, I think they came. That they were British. They were English sailors.
So they were British
to the Americans because they weren't happy. There were some reasons for it, but anyway, they caught up with them. So it's weird that it wasn't a war thing. It was just like you've got our guys who deserted, give them back to us. No, weird. So that's the 1807. 1812, France declares war on Russia, starting Napoleon's invasion. This is to do with the continental blockade thing. They wanted to get Russia on board for that by annihilating them. But oh dear, how sad. That didn't quite work out. Anyway, 1813, War of 1812. After learning the American plans for a surprise attack on Beaver Dams in Ontario, Laura Secord sets out on a 30-kilometre, 20-mile journey on foot to warn Lieutenant James Fitzgibbon. Her contribution to the war was little known during her lifetime, but since her death, she has been frequently honoured in Canada. though Laura Secord has no relation to it, most Canadians, and you've got to tell me if this is true, if there's any Canadians in the chat, most Canadians associate her with the Laura Secord Chocolates Company, named after her on the centennial of her walk, which I thought was quite good. Whizzing to 1893, the Royal Navy battleship HMS Camperdown accidentally rammed the British Mediterranean Fleet flagship ship. Geez, have another drink. Rough. HMS Victoria near Tripoli in the Lebanon. HMS Victoria sank, taking 358 crew with her, including the commander of the British Mediterranean Fleet, Vice Admiral Sir George Tyrone. A lot of naval stuff. It just happens to be that way. 1940, though, World War II, France is forced to sign the second Compiègne armistice with Germany in the same railroad car in which the Germans signed the armistice in 1918. That was his way of getting back at them for the humiliation. 1940 as well, General Albert Kesselring directs Hauptmann Wolfgang Falk to establish the Luftwaffe's first true night fighter unit, the NAC Jahresgeschwader 1. It is the birth of the German specialized night fighter force of World War II. 1941, Nazi Germany, Yahtzee, I can't say the word, Yahtzee Germany.
You got us demonetized now.
I know. No, Yahtzee Germany invades the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa. And 1941, within the first hour of the war, Soviet pilot, a Lieutenant Ivanov of the 46th Fighter Air Regiment, rams a Heinkel HE-111, the first of 10 Soviet aerial rammings that day, and more than 200 during the war. Ivanov is, of course, killed in the ramming. So it's not just a Japanese thing.
Wow, I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? This was, they were for it. They were fired up, and it's
faulty triggers. What's going on?
Right? No, they don't. Deliberately rammed.
Right.
A kamikaze before kamikaze. 1942, World War II again. Erwin Rommel is promoted to Field Marshal after the Axis capture of Tobruk. He certainly didn't get it with my playthrough of Rommel when he couldn't get out of Belgium. Anyway, 1944, World War II, of course, opening day of the Soviet Union's Operation Bagration against the Army Group Center. It was a military campaign fought between today and the 19th of August 44 in Soviet Belarus in the Eastern Front of World War II. Just after 2 weeks after the start of Operation Overlord in the West, causing Nazi Germany to have to fight on two major fronts at the same time. The Soviet Union destroyed 28 of 34 divisions of Army Group Center and completely shattered the German front line. It was the biggest defeat in German military history, with around 450,000 German casualties, while 300,000 other German soldiers were cut off in the Courland Pocket. 1945, World War II. The Battle of Okinawa comes to an end with an American flag-raising ceremony. And then in 1947, got a picture, hold on.
Oh, here we go. Get your magnifying glasses.
Right. Count the pixels.
So I have to put up with Nathan. This is terrible. Hold on, let's get it out. 1947, the Martin XB-48 makes first flight. The Martin XB-48 was an American medium jet bomber developed in the mid-1940s. It competed with the Boeing B-47 Stratojet, which proved to be a superior design and was largely considered as a backup plan in case the B-47 ran into development problems. Obviously, it didn't, and they only made two of these things. So what do you think? Let's have a look. There we go.
All right, here we go. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
yeah. That didn't quite make it. Where are we? So, yeah. What we got now? We've got 1951. This entered service. The Supermarine Attacker joined 800 Naval Air Squadron, the Fleet Air Arm's first jet. Now, let me get that up. It's not the best looking thing, I must admit. I'm not. It's just hasn't got the sort of sexiness, if you like, of the American planes of that time. Let me see if I can get that up. Present.
I never thought I'd hear a Brit actually say something nice about the United States.
Well, you had all these sexy silver things, didn't you? And it was. Let me just get it up. Ooh, no, I mustn't say that. Let me get the picture up on the screen again.
I can't say I've ever heard a phrase describing American planes like that before.
What, sexy?
Sexy silver things.
Oh, they are. They are. You look at this in a minute. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this up. I must stop saying that because that sounds very rude. I know what I mean. Why haven't I got... what's going on here?
Yeah, you got to share it. Yeah.
Watch it. He'll accidentally drop.
I don't know what's going on. I can't share that.
That's usually after because he clicks it to close it.
right.
And he closes
I'm going to cut myself off in a minute. Just to watch. Let's see. Share screen, window, entire screen, Chrome tab.
You see why this?
There it is. I've got it. There we go.
Hey, there we go.
Not the greatest looking thing.
Looks like a miniature XB-48.
Yeah, it's just compared to the other the 50s jets of America, they certainly knew what they were doing.
Says it exactly right. British aircraft design is always a big hit and miss. Perfection versus weird things with bits and bumps.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. So that's that. Let's get rid of that. Right, where were we? Do like me aircraft. It was retired in 1954, and the Royal Naval Voluntary Reserve, 1957. Retired from the Pakistani Army not until 1964, or Air Force. Sorry, the Pakistani Air Force kept it till 1964. One more. Now, this is what I mean. This is 1954. This is 3 years later, and this is what I say about sexy. Sexy American planes, 4 years later.
Maybe.
There we go. First flight of the Douglas A4 Skyhawk.
Wow.
American carrier-capable ground attack aircraft. See, not as pointy and sort of, that sort of sci-fi thing that came a year or two later. But my goodness, compared to the poor old Supermarine Attacker. There we go. That's the man. Yeah, the game. Yeah. First flight today. It was actually introduced 1st of October 56. The United States Marine Corps kept it until 1998. The US Navy, 2003. The Israeli Air Force, 2015. And the Royal Navy, the Royal New Zealand Air Force, 2001. So still an aircraft that was used until quite recently. But yeah, compared, still a little bit clunky compared to the Attacker. There we go. Right. And then this is quite nice. 1975, Svetlana Savitskaya sets a new women's airspeed record of 1,667 miles per hour in the Mikoyan YE-133, a modified MiG-25 PU two-seater trainer. So go girl is all I can say. Fantastic.
Nice. Yes.
And 1990, we finished with this. 1990, Cold War, Checkpoint C, Checkpoint Charlie is dismantled in Berlin. There we are.
Wow, what happened?
Crazy.
Well. And you wonder why it takes 20 minutes there, wise guy. Wow. You got to
Yeah,
learn
it's
all
some
about
good
the
stuff.
British
It's some good
history
stuff.
and about the airplanes.
Yeah. If you notice, they're creeping in. You'll get some sale stuff coming in as well as time goes on.
Nate,
Well-
do you have something to share today?
Yes, I do actually. I have books for both you, Ruff, and Jester.
No, seriously, if you think it's going on too much, I love it because this is what I've been learning over the last. This is part of what we're talking about today. If it's going on too long, I'll make it shorter. I don't mind.
No, it was wonderful.
Take as long
Okay,
as you want.
just don't. Okay,
I'm just
Sorry,
teasing you,
Dave.
man.
With the wine and all, it was great.
Yeah, I'm sorry that some of the worms come out a bit incorrectly. So, but it is, it's 20 past 10 p.m. here.
It is.
Well,
I'm allowed
I'll
to
tell
drink
you,
on Saturday.
I was inspired by Nathan's recent videos on North Africa 41, and I haven't played it yet. I've only played the Dark Sands and really liked it. But
It would be interesting after what Nathan said about it, how you feel about playing Dark Sands and this one as well. So,
right, yeah. But Jester, this is a great book that I enjoyed, the Luftwaffe in the North African campaign.
Nice. Okay.
And I love that there is like numerous pictures throughout.
He
that
likes pictures.
I've
He
never
likes
seen
pictures.
before.
I like pictures. Yeah.
Like different, formations, and it is a great book. I picked this up at the United States Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, when I was there, and great book. So Jester, you should definitely look to find this one. It's very good. But I also, another book that when I was in doing my master's degree, I did some grad work research on North Africa. Has always been, North Africa and the Mediterranean is my favorite theater of World War II to study. And I was really interested in studying particularly the first battle of El Alamein in July 42. And I went and looked through some like war cabinet files that are now available online. But it's funny when you pull up the digital version of it, you still see top secret, nobody's supposed to look at it.
Crazy, For your eyes only. Yeah.
Yeah. And to
you have to use the
through,
microfiche machine.
right. Didn't have you just download it and read it.
It's all modern now.
That's
it's not
right.
like those 1960 spy films where they're going through,
I was really fascinated doing that research. I had argued, and I wrote a long paper on it, and it's published online, where I had argued that the first battle was more significant and decisive than the second battle.
In what way?
And what's that?
In what way?
Well, in that a lot of people focus on the second battle as sort of the beginning of the end of the Africa Corps.
Well, the first one, we got sort of our asses kicked, didn't we? A little bit.
And the first one, like they barely held on. But if you look at sort of deeper into like the Africa Corps was at the very limits of their logistical capabilities. They were supposed to get something like 80,000 tons or 60, 70,000 tons worth of supplies to the front. And after they took Tobruk, instead, only like 6,000 tons had arrived. There was like only about 30 tanks that were in working order by July. I mean, they could have been completely obliterated if the British were able to turn themselves around. I mean, immediately in July 42, the United States sent over something like 50 to 60 Sherman tanks, and they were getting something like 500,000 tons of supply in, and the Germans just couldn't compensate for that.
I think also if the Brits realised how stretched the Germans were, they may have acted slightly differently. They were because as you know, Montgomery is a cautious man.
Right. Well, I was convinced that the first battle was more significant in that when I was reading through the cabinet papers, that in late June of 42, the cabinet had already considered blowing up factories and bridges and all kinds of infrastructure in Egypt, anticipating that it was going to get run over. They had already anticipated forcibly removing the king of Egypt from Cairo. And even in right before the first battle of El Alamein, the British fleet left Alexandria. And there was also student demonstrations in favor of the Germans in Cairo. And
we got the ump with us, you see, after whatever. But the other thing is, as Coy said, if Mr. Titler hadn't decided to invade Russia, because he pulled a lot of stuff out from Africa to do that. As he said, it might have been a different story.
Yeah, and like I looked at, so like all right before all of that, there you can sense a level of panic setting into the cabinet as they're discussing this. But after the battle, it's never discussed in terms of we might lose, we might need to pull out. It's never mentioned whatsoever. There's no
the British way. We don't know. It's not cricket. You know.
Yeah, and so it was. I found it fascinating. So anyway, this is a great book. It's small. Look at that.
Look, it doesn't matter how small it is. You get me buying books again, Nate, and I don't. And for that, you come off my Christmas card list.
One thing I really liked about this too is detailed order of battle for each of the divisions that are within the Africa Corps, and depending on the date as well. Plus, like I just love pictures like these. Go through. I just love the silhouettes of
need more of those.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's a shame I put all my books away, because I could do a counterpoint to USA and my favorite, my books. I mean, as I say, I've got one shelf left down there, and
Well, Ruff, you could get you got Nelson's Navy for flying colors, so you need North Africa.
I've also got Nelson at the Nile coming in because of this game.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and
also Nelson at Trafalgar.
Well, I know I mentioned it on the show once before, but since today is yesterday was the anniversary of Barbarossa, but this is a great book. It's like a one single volume on Barbarossa.
Do you know what? Me being in World War II, I love me World War II, and I'm getting into other things, which we'll talk about, in the subject today's thingy.
If we get to it, yes.
Oh well, if we don't. Who cares? So we got Nathan here. I can't quite like Napoleonics, and I'll tell you how I'm getting into that when we do it. But Eastern Front, I can't. It just seems it's too big. It's too massive, and I need a little bit of convincing. No. Well, for me, I know there are people, and you, Nathan likes it. You like it as well, Nate. And I know you like your Eastern Front as well. For me, though, I don't know. Which is why I do my things sort of different. And I know you're going to poo-poo it, but this look. I got me cards.
Oh, I was going to say, did you get your cards?
Yeah, they were great. So
nice.
I got me cards. That's all ready to go. So yeah, but I need convincing. Maybe I've got to play a few more. So
I think bite-sized chunks, because as you say, it's so big. Huge. 4 years, so many different operations.
It's so huge. They split it into 3 blooming army groups. It's like.
Well, you could play the Russian campaign.
I've got that.
Yep. I actually was learning that myself.
It's not too difficult. Not too
watching Wise Guy, I'm like, I can do this on Vassal.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
No, I've got the mounted map for it. Am I going to do this on Vassal? No, matey.
Yeah, well, you got a big table. I don't have a big table.
Well,
or if you got the compass version, then it's only one mounted map.
No, I've got the revamped, if you like. They redid the
5th
rules.
edition.
Yeah.
So before I start my segment, Wise Guy, you might like this.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a game called Tide of Iron?
Yeah, yeah. My son loves it.
Oh, you,
Okay. All right.
you get
Well, these two yahoos are the only people in America that have never heard of it, so I'm not allowed to do. I'm not allowed to do my guessing game anymore. So now what I do is we're doing the top 500 war game countdown. So
which
every
I find far more interesting.
That segment took it was a lot of prayer and perspiration to get through
Yeah,
it.
it was terrible. And this is the only time he went off in a hissy fit and went off and go, oh, a bit, and he left the stream.
Like goodbye.
So
yes.
now what I have to do is I have to
Far more
pacify these
interesting,
two and try to get them something. So I'm going through the top 500 games. Every week I do 10 games. So this week we start with 440 up to 431.
Because it's dynamic, it's quite
And then we
interesting.
can talk
to see
about each
people
of these
work
games for a second. And
up or down. It's a bit like the old top 20 in the old days, yeah? Listen,
what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to share.
Just see the comment. Tide of Iron Sales saw a spike that.
All right, so number 440, and someday we're going to get all the way up to number 1, but 440 is Rise of the Luftwaffe from 1993. 2 to 8 players, weight of 2.14. Have you ever played this one, Wise Guy?
No, but I used to own. I may have owned that previously. No,
Really?
never played the Down in Flames series. No.
is it based on the Down in Flame thingy?
Yeah, it's basically Down in Flames, but with the Luftwaffe. Yeah.
Yeah, card. No, never. I may have owned it, but never got to play it. And so
Because you can't solo it with your weird mates, Nathan.
Yeah. You need 2 to 8 players, and the way you piss off your friends, there's no way you're going to get
playing
beat.
by the book historically.
Yeah.
All right, number 439 is going to be Axis and Allies 1942.
I've never heard of that game. Don't know what
Yes,
that
Ian.
is.
Axis and Allies in 1942, 2 to
What's
5
this all
players.
about then? This is a new one on me.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
joking. It's all right.
it's a good one. It's a good one. I've played this version.
Never played any of them. Never played any. Of them.
Really?
Oh,
Oh,
really? Yeah.
Wow.
the global ones, global Europe and Pacific together are really fun to play.
Axis and Allies was my first war game. Technically, is it a war game? Yeah, it's a war
Yeah.
game. It was my
Yep,
first
that
war game.
Same.
See, I played Risk and then went off to do D&D and fantasy stuff for a while. So yeah, never got round to Axis and Allies.
All right, number 438 is Next War, India, Pakistan.
Mitch, get this bloody reprinted for goodness sake.
Right?
There's no naval stuff in it, so it's a great one to learn to play this system.
Yep. Made by Gene Billingsley and Mitch Land. GMT Games 2015. We need a reprint.
We do.
Have you ever played any of the Next War series, Wise Guy?
No. Hypothetical modern conflict.
You can't go wrong. There's no wrong move.
Yeah. No one to complain about me doing.
No,
things
you
that I-
have to do this move first.
Yeah.
It is good. I mean, even the basic game, okay, it's nice and easy, and it's good.
Look at those counters. Ooh.
They are sort of
Those counters, Rob.
Yeah, I have to, as you know, I'm using this more and more now.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
They are half-inch
With
slots.
Vassal, you can just zoom right in.
Shush.
437 is going to be Blue Water Navy.
Ooh.
Oh, I was interested in that one. Never got it though.
I don't think it plays that well solo, which is why I
It's
never
the
got.
CDG, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got to take that into consideration.
I do love a good naval game.
Yes, me. Oh God, yes, you're talking to the
It's
converted here.
It's a card-driven naval game.
Yeah.
I love card-driven games. I didn't know it was card. This was part of my bulk order. I think last year or the year before that I ordered for a friend. He ordered this. So it came over in a big box from America.
Have you played it yet?
No, I haven't played it.
No.
But,
I mean, I'm starting to like card-driven games because there are now solo things that GMT are bringing out. So,
And I know there's a sequel with this is obviously in the Atlantic. There's a Pacific version that's coming out at some point.
All right, number 436. We saw this last week, boys. It keeps coming down the list with
Coming
us.
down.
Yeah.
Coming
It must
down.
be
It was
the cover.
at 447 last week.
It's one of the weirdest covers I've ever seen. I don't know what it has to do with the War of the Roses.
The
I think this is one
campaign
of the
series.
first covers that they did after Roger McGowan left, and they thought, "Oh, we're going to, you coffee boy, right? Draw something."
Yeah,
It's
the whole
nice.
series needs a new cover. They need a nice border to sell the series.
Yeah.
Because Nevsky, I was turned off Nevsky because Nevsky's got the weirdest cover.
Oh yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
a
the
great
dude
game.
staring at you.
I just thought, they need a,
No, but
they need a
again,
series.
another series I didn't dip my toe into because it's a rabbit hole. They're
Now-
just bringing them out like Coin. They're bringing them out.
I will say this: the cover for the new Seljuk game does look really good. So they seem to might have fixed all of those issues with that.
This is the
Yeah, Coy says
era
the
of
game is
knights.
fun. The cover's pants, as he says, but the game is fun. But then if you saw that in a shop,
yeah.
you're not
It's
going to know
knights.
it's
It
fun.
does-
There are knights and armies, and it's a tent with a little
Couple
old
of dudes on.
Yeah.
It's a squire.
It does have a great map, though. The map is really good.
Oh yeah. look.
I definitely I want to play this series and you
Yeah,
know,
no. Stay
There's one for
away.
you, Nate.
Oh,
Flames of War, World War II miniatures game. You got the Flames of War stuff going on.
I don't have any World War II miniatures.
No, I thought you were going to do the Flames of War thing.
No, I actually
No,
did.
that's the other one.
Well, you
isn't it?
reminded me.
It's the Australian one from Nathan's part of the world. Is that the one you mean? The big monster game?
Yeah, the Flames of War. I thought he was going to start getting into that. He was trying to decide.
No, I actually ended up. I got my first miniatures actually this week.
Oh,
And I couldn't resist. I went with the Romans.
go figure.
Romans!
Yeah.
Of course he did. For what system?
I think it's kind of generic. You can
Any
decide.
Right, so you
system
can
that-
adapt
yeah,
any
any
system.
system that you
I think
put
I
the
might
table
try
on.
I think it's called Hail Caesar system.
Kaiser.
It looked
Kaiser.
interesting to me, but yeah, this is a
I
bad
was
rabbit
told
hole.
off for saying that.
All right, number 434 is General Orders World War II from 2013. Came out last year.
Speaking
I
of
know
that,
this. Oh, it's a David Thompson design.
Yeah,
With-
Trevor Benjamin, David
Yeah.
Thompson.
Oh, it's Osprey. No, that's a game company I've not had any buying
Got,
relationship.
little meeples. It's got a very tiny board.
Yeah,
Mm.
but maybe it's a great introductory into wargaming. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Any
know
game
anything
that
about
does
this
that.
either.
Yeah.
Tony, what's
Tony.
going on, buddy? How you doing? Good to see you, my friend.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know anything about it, but
no, I don't know.
came out last year. Number 433 is Warhammer 40K Heroes of Black Reach.
Never got into that. I was playing Warhammer Fantasy
never got into
Oh.
one.
and Hero Quest and all that malarkey.
Yeah. So this is the Heroes of Normandy system,
Yeah.
which they ported to the 40k universe. That's that. Yeah, the same gameplay as Heroes of Normandy, but with Warhammer 40k.
Yeah, where
Hold
you
on,
build your
can I just
squad.
ask while he's in the chat, if he's still there, Tony, are you available next Saturday to come on here? Right, off we go. He'll answer in the chat because he's a good boy.
Yeah. So I've been looking at that Normandy series. Have you tried that one, Nate?
No, I haven't.
It's
Yeah,
another good introduction to
Which one is he talking
wargaming,
to?
I think.
Which one is he talking to?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. We're outnumbered by Nate's there, Ruff.
You
Nate
have to
number
say,
2.
yeah, you have to say, I think just call him Wise Guy.
Yeah, that's why I've been calling him Wise Guy, because I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, he's got the
I think what's
PhD. He could be
interesting-
Dr. Nate, and I'll just be Nate.
No, don't. Well, you're getting yours.
I'll
and then
get it
we'll-
next
Ah,
year.
look at
This
this.
next
Come
year,
on
I'll
now.
probably
It's
have
got great looking components.
Mm.
I don't know. I could definitely see myself playing this one.
You like the other game has those tiles that you've been playing a lot of, and you like David Thompson game.
Oh, Undaunted?
Undaunted,
Yeah, Undaunted. Yeah, very good game. Yes.
So you might like that.
Yep. 432, Enemy at the Gates.
OCS.
This is a Dean Essig. Now, am I correct? And
okay, Tone. Thanks anyway. They've redone this, haven't they?
Yeah, Case Blue. This is Case Blue.
This is a
lot of people are talking about this lately because Case Blue is so expensive. So I saw some people saying Enemy at the Gates is easier to get hold of, and it covers the Caucasus and I think Fort Blau. So people are saying you could go back to this if you wanted to cover that campaign.
Yeah,
but it's big. It'll still be big.
Yeah, this is it. This is maybe what's sort of like,
and you can get it for $65 freaking.
Yeah, so compared to the thousands you'll probably play for Case Blue,
yeah, crazy.
That's a bargain. These are older versions of OCS, basically. They're cheap.
Yeah, they are. They're the original original gamers ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
And our final one for this week.
Hey.
Line by VUCA.
Yeah, I love them. I love the system. It's okay once you get going. It's a grind to get through the turns. Just
how many of you can just reach over and grab it and have the game right here in front of you? Yeah, that is a professional YouTuber right there.
All right,
have it at a moment. Have it at a moment.
And I know Nate's done a little play. I've done a playthrough as well. That was my first. When I first started doing YouTube, that was my first hex and counter game I did.
This one?
Yeah.
That's a heavy hex and counter to start with.
It was great fun. I probably made a few mistakes, but it was great fun. I liked it.
Tony's asking, are you good to play Friday, Ruff?
Oh, yeah. So I did mention that. Yeah. It means I've got to read the rules again. Good grief.
Yeah, Musket and Pike over on Tony's channel. Yeah. Make sure we talk about that.
That's on my list as well. Yes.
Get your yellow muskets out.
Yeah, we're going to be wearing bright orange and purple uniforms.
Oh, so you're going to be the parliamentarians.
So we can blend into the surrounding.
Parliamentarians.
Yeah, if you're going to be orange, then you're going to be parliament. You're going to play the.
I don't know what we're playing. I don't know who we're going to do. We're just going to turn up on the night and just say, "What do you want to do?" I don't know. That's what I love about it.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, just this is an interesting topic that we have for today.
Yeah, it is, Michael. It's
topic today is it's time to wrap up. No, not quite, but soon it's time to wrap up. Our topic today is, what have you learned recently? Since we've got professors and more professors and doctors and
I know, crazy.
I don't even know what you guys are. I'm just a little schmo, man. I'm a nobody. So,
why rough drinks? He feels intimidated.
So what we'll do is we'll just go around in circle, starting with Nate number 1, the non-doctor, and you can talk about what you learned.
So I'll go back to something that I know I've mentioned on this show many times. Oh, look at that. Now straight from the bottle. Oh, it's water.
I normally get the big ones. I like my fizzy water. And the difference between us and you is that your bottled water is just tap water that's been purified. Ours has to be spring water.
Okay.
Great.
It's proper spring water. It's not tap water.
Interesting.
So,
well, anyway, so a game that I mentioned several times in the show that I really enjoy and we'll be doing a review on at some point here in the near future is Death in the Trenches, and played that for a good month solid. Really enjoyed that game. And was at the same time, while I was playing that game, I've been reading World War I books, and was trying to do was read the books on the year and the campaigns in which that I was playing at that moment, so I could play a little bit, read a little bit more, and see kind of how things correlated between the game and real life, and was really fascinating in terms of like the game with all the events and the combat systems. Really, really well put together from Ben Madison. The first edition won a Charles Itz Roberts Award, and the second edition.
Nate, and I don't mean to interrupt you. We would like to get this done sometime today. Can you speed up what you're going to talk about?
You bet. You bet.
Wow.
So anyway, I was
It's like
fascinated.
5:45 already, and he's going on and on and on. Let's
But
go.
that's what
Speed
they
it up.
do. You invite people of knowledge, and then moan that they give their knowledge
No,
out.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
we don't need a dissertation on it. Just what have you learned?
See you, Gareth.
I learned in this game, particularly when, like, give you an example, in 1916, Eric von Falkenheim was in charge. At the beginning of the campaign season, they were trying to determine where they were going to attack for that year. What was going to be the major campaign, and they kind of looked at the map and were like, where can we go? There's just, that if we go anywhere, there's a risk of the other front being hurt. And I could tell playing Death in the Trenches that I was feeling that same tension as well. And that's what one of the reasons I kind of fell in love with that game is because I was getting a sense, obviously not the same, but getting a sense of what sort of it's like to be in the Central Powers and that Central Command of where do we go? Because anywhere we go, risk the other front getting ruined. And so I learned a lot in playing through that game about World War I, and it really helped in making the game feel more historical and alive to me.
So you've got more into World War I stuff in the last sort of 6 months.
Oh, I've been playing World War I since January.
Yeah, which is the last 6 months, weirdly.
Come on the show.
So well done.
Since he's come on the show. Nate,
Okay, Esther.
number 2. Can you give us something you've learned in the last 6 months?
Yeah, I think
And not take
Not to
20
come on-
minutes.
no,
to do it.
I think what it is,
It's time.
not to come on this show again.
Be careful what I say. Don't mention Kickstarter. Don't.
Errata.
I think I've found my sweet spot with operational games. So I know I don't like tactical games. I like strategic games, but I think for me, operational gaming is where I find most enjoyment. It's taken me years to figure this out, but I think that's where I'm going to start focusing much more of my attention on
You're
that.
so good.
That
Yeah,
Italian regimental scale.
I know.
Yeah.
Really?
Fair enough.
So tactical, you learn. Nope, don't like tactical.
I don't like tactical. I really don't like
You like
tactical.
grand strategic. You like that kind of middle ground, huh?
Grand strategic is still fun. I still enjoy it, but
I think it's
enjoyment-
it's Marmite or Vegemite in your case. It's either zoom out up here and have a look, or zoom in. Yeah, there's no in between with it. I don't think.
All right.
It's just it's because of the decisions that I'm making. So with tactical, I don't know. Tactical just tends to be move up and attack. Strategic's a bit different. It's really big picture, but stuff like, and I'm thinking I might get back into OCS.
Oh,
I'm worried about the
yeah.
solo. I'm worried about the
Not
solo
tried
aspect of it, but it's more divisional. But
It's old school, but there's a lot of fans for it.
yeah, and it's got that movement, that maneuver kind of element. That
Every time you do something, you have to pay, don't you?
well, you pay for attacks, supplies. It's all about logistics, supply, those considerations, but with the maneuver built in. BCS and OCS. I think I'm going to go.
I think I'd try BCS if I get the money together, because again they're blooming expensive. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Great. Ruff, what have you learned in the last 6 months?
I've learnt, as we talked about, to love a little bit more Vassal because of playing with Tony and yourselves and all that. Learning to accept that, yes, okay, it's there and it does a job, and I can play with people that I would never normally be able to play with. So yes, positive there. The other big thing is getting to Napoleonic games is something
I was wondering if you were going to say that.
Yeah, Napoleonic games is something I'm having trouble, like Eastern Front, I'm having trouble getting into for some reason. But what I'm doing is getting into it through a sort of back door of the naval side of it, because I like my naval games. So I'm getting to know indirectly about land battles through the naval battles and the sort of things that England did or Britain did during that that part of the world, that part of history. So yes, getting books on it, and learning. That's my big thing. I think is actually there's hope for me to maybe get into some Napoleonic stuff once I've. Well, I love the naval stuff. Getting into it through that way.
Ruff, there is a new 7th edition coming out for War and Peace.
Shut up. It sells out as soon as it comes out. Maybe.
All right. So one of the things I learned in the last 6 months is, Ruff had mentioned it just a little bit ago, actually. I've been playing a lot of the Undaunted system and a lot of deck building and stuff. And what I've learned is that wargaming can use a lot of these mechanics that are in regular Euro games and bring them into wargaming and make them just as good and make them great introductory games for other people to learn how to play them. There are many games. Herman just did Plum Island Horror.
Get Mark Herman on the phone.
Yeah, he stole a bunch of mechanics from Euros. I'm finding that there are more Euro mechanics that are great in wargaming, and Undaunted proves you can do it. That's what I learned. Nate, what else did you learn, buddy?
Which one?
You.
Nate,
we're going around again. We're going around number 2, round 2.
I learned that really a lot of the, and this was something I was thinking about watching, Nathan, your War Game Morale video, is that how important a good graphic design is for a game, and how it can either really make or break your experience in terms of if I have to really spend a lot of time on trying to figure out the symbols and what things mean, or if the map is just horrible, I'm not going to get immersed into the game, and it's going to really destroy my ability to play it. So yeah, graphic design easily.
Good point.
See, that was quick.
Yeah, that was how you were supposed to do it the first time.
Oh, well.
Dr. Nate, what's up? What do you got? Anything else for us?
Yeah, I'm not. I used to struggle with rulebooks. I'm not wasting my time with bad rulebooks anymore. It's because it damages my morale. If I start to dive in and I don't like it, I'm just going to stop early rather than struggle. So I'm not struggling anymore. I'm not going to give bad rulebooks the time of day. I used to power through and think, I'll figure this out, but I'm not anymore. I'm going to stop.
So you learned there's life's too short. You might as well play what you like while you're here.
Yeah, that's why struggle with a bad rulebook for a game that I'm not certain about, when I can just say, no, I'm an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into this. I'm going to stop and move to something more fun.
Good.
Be easy. Enjoy the learning process. We need more Jeremy Whites to.
Yes. Now, if I have a man crush on anybody, it's Jerry.
Man, that is such a good rule book for Atlantic Chase.
Yeah.
Everything he does is he should. As I've said in my videos,
he's taken that from, I believe, from Euros and non-war board games. That's the way a lot of non-war games are put out, aren't they? They're sort of breaking it down. And here's what you need.
He provides so many illustrations, so you can connect from the written word to the actual what's on the board, which is missing in a lot of war game rules.
Yeah, and the structured scenarios, and it feels like with Ruff, you'd know about Skies Above Britain. That kind of like you're gradually learning bits at a time, and it's like you're enjoying every aspect of it.
My only problem with that is it's a great rule book, but there's one bloody raid counter that I don't think, it might be me, that isn't explained quite as well as it should be, unless it's just me. It's the one with the raid marker above it and the AA underneath, and they say, or whatever it is, and you put off putting the raid marker down. Is that the raid marker that you've already put down, or you have to wait? If there's not one there, you do it. So yeah, that's the only thing. But yeah, apart from that, fantastic rule books.
Yeah, you made me think of, Nathan, when you mentioned, because Christoph mentions in the chat about the new Aaron Armor. It's a 148-page rule book, and I know people say that there's a lot of.
Kev has had a moan about that.
I saw that. I thought it was interesting. I mean, I don't want to spend the time to go through 148 pages.
Yep. And that was going to be my second point. Ruff, do you have one before I go?
That's sort of weirdly what the prof has said, is that, yes, when I first started this, I will churn through rule books if they're, and I know the experience is a lot to be, taken into account. And I would look on BGG, look at other things, trying to work out what's going on. And then I'm thinking, no, as you say, life's too short. I'm getting on now. And the other thing I'm starting to like is I'm getting back heavily into solo gaming, because I think you guys are just a waste of time. No, weirdly, I love the solo games. Some great solo games coming out. So I'm coming away maybe from, not entirely, don't panic, we'll be playing some great games, but I do like something I can put out and play myself and video, just me, without worrying about playing it two-handed. So that's what I've learned.
Great. Well, the last thing I learned in the last 6 months, and I think this is just, kind of going off of a little bit what you guys were saying, is I cannot sit down and play a game if it's more than 2 hours. I just can't do it anymore. I don't know. I lose. I don't know if it's my ADHD or what, but after like an hour and a half to 2 hours, I could care less about this game. I have no desire to keep playing. I don't know if it's my cancer or whatever, but I have been completely different now than I was a couple years ago when I would play those games. I could sit here for 8 hours and play Diablo or whatever on my computer.
What about as a YouTuber that you like I'm playing Skies Above Britain, and the first one was an hour and a half because it had introductions of pilots, and each one's going to be, I suspect, 40, 50 an hour long. So I'm going to play 6-7 hours of it, but it's split down into bits. What about that as a YouTuber?
That's fine. I just cannot go more than an hour and a half to 2 hours is maximum. I have to get up. You'll notice, and even when I'm doing my other videos and they're longer, I'm breaking them up into part 1 and part 2 because, like I said, after an hour and a half, I suddenly care less about the game. I don't have the desire to want to fight.
Viewers do after an hour. Some of them have to be an hour, but you do it live, so you play it. Maybe you should just do playing it live, but then go an hour. Okay, see you tomorrow. We'll play the next half or next week. That's what I'm doing with this. I've done the first part. I'm videoing the second part, and that'll take me a while. As you know, it takes a long time to edit it. But that's how I split it up, by doing each patrol separately rather than sitting doing a live stream. Crikey. I'd lose the will to live.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't get into it anymore.
Small chunks as a YouTuber or player. Yeah.
Maybe it's just old age. I don't know what it is, but
no, I'm with you there. I couldn't video the whole 6 patrols or a whole OCS game. You'd have to split it up, otherwise you'd end up sort of licking the windows, and just running around.
I played earlier today, Wise Guy. You were probably sleeping, but I played Concordia this morning for the first time ever, and it was about an hour and 45 minutes, and then we had like a 15 minutes where I did like scoring at the end, and when I was done, I was like, "Perfect! This is perfect. This is exactly what I want out of a game." This is an hour and a half to 2 hours. I got the whole thing in, and I'm happy, and I'm done with it, and I can now move on with my life.
It's a Roman game.
Yeah, it's one of our regular Roman themed games, weekly game. Yep.
Awesome. So I really enjoyed that, and I just I don't know if it's just the mindset I'm in or whatever. I can't. The games that
will take 3, 4, 5, 6 videos. I'm not going to do them one after the other because I'd go mad. I'd put the and also with this game as well, because it's not complex, but there's lots of twiddly bits in it that you forget. So I've got the first one up, and I've got a couple of comments back saying, "Hey, you forgot this rough," and I love it where they go, just for future reference, and it's brilliant. So I made a note that when that crops up again, I'm going to play it. So by the end of the 6th patrol, hopefully I'm playing it absolutely correctly and people can enjoy it. But I couldn't do it straight through. I couldn't do that and then start videoing the 2nd patrol.
Yeah.
I've got to take a break.
I thought you were going to mention. I really thought you were going to mention about, because you assigned people to all the little counters and having that connection now with your game. I thought that was going to be one of the things you would mention.
Well, no, it is great that and that's making the game actually different to if I'd played it with just making up names, because there are people that I know and they're friends, whether they're subscribers or YouTubers. Because, by the way, remember, we love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it. The fact that I've done that makes it a little. Am I going to go? Oh God, no! I don't want to do this. I'm dreading the first one that actually doesn't make it. So it is
almost didn't.
No, there was a couple. Well, they but it's only the first patrol, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But Jester, I kind of understand.
Don't you worry.
Jester, I kind of understand what you're saying about time. Like I love, in my mind, I love the idea of spending time in a game and just standing over the table and just looking at everything and strategizing. But then when you're actually in it, and it's like, there's a lot of other games that I could play. Do I really want to spend 30, 40 hours on just this one game? And yeah, a lot of times
there are people that do and get a great deal of enjoyment by pondering, puffing on the pipe, and walking around, getting a book out and looking, and that's fantastic. And I'm lucky that I can leave this out. There are people who can't do that. Leave the game out until I'm ready to do the next part, and that's what's great about it. It might be a bit of a gap because again you've got editing, and then you think, no, there's an unboxing I can do in between just to sort of clear the palate, as it were, before I get back to it. So I'm lucky in that way. But yeah, I understand it's horses for courses. There's, as they used to say, now it's queer as folk. Everybody's different, and that's wonderful.
I mean, Nathan, I can imagine when you were playing East Front series that was on your table for quite a while.
Yeah, well, I ended up I only got halfway through the Army Group North, and like Ruff was just saying, how long can I really leave this up? And I ended up packing it up halfway through the campaign. But I think Army Group Center was up for months. Ooh. And it's it takes up the entire. It's huge.
Yeah.
Through that whole time, I actually ended up that early as well. So I packed up Army Group Center early. Didn't finish that campaign. I reached a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to pack it up and try something else.
Yeah.
And also, they're still chatting about it in the chat. That you were my wingman, meandering. I've got to watch it. So it's a great thing. But please bear in mind, it puts a tremendous amount of stress if you disappear suddenly, so it's quite as Nathan, it's not a kind game.
Yeah.
But I love
it. War is not friendly to anyone out there. No, sir.
But it makes it difficult that there's people I know. So
exactly. It's your mates, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why these guys earlier, we talked about those deserters, right? They wanted to go back to their mates because,
And there's talking, and there's people like Tweezers. He puts a comment on the video saying, "Oh, thanks. Yeah, I had to spend the night in the pub. Cheers."
So I mean, we got to kind of wind down things. We do appreciate Nate coming out tonight or this morning for him, anyways, and enjoying some time with us again. It's great as usual.
I've seen the sun come up behind him and.
Yeah, I'm going to see if it's snowing. It's meant to be snowing here. It's our winter.
Snowing?
And snow was. I haven't checked outside, but snow was predicted.
God, you're upside down, aren't you? You're upside down to us. Yes.
Yeah. It's totally
It's
freezing. I forgot to put the heater
92
on.
degrees outside here.
Yeah, it's like 95 here.
No, it was lovely. A lovely June day. Lovely. I had the back door open. Everything was, it was gorgeous. Sunny, but not too hot.
I'm just going to check the
Well,
weather
anyways,
report.
we do appreciate. We love your comments.
Yeah, thanks, Wise guys.
Love your
Thanks.
insight and
Yeah,
everything. Appreciate all your videos you've done on the Simonage games. And if anyone's interested, check out his channel for sure. He does a great job. If we will link it over here. It's just Wise Guy History, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So before we say goodbye, anyone have any announcements of what they've got going on in their channels? Ruff, you got anything coming up?
Well, just video. We've started videoing part 2, so we're doing that for next week. A bit more of that. See, get that on the channel as soon as I can. That's about it. I'm enjoying it. It's a good game. I mean, I don't know. I've got Storm Above the Reich and I've ordered Skies Above the Reich. Am I going to be not disappointed? Am I going to think, oh, this isn't as sort of crunchy?
It's a different series. It's completely different. It's different. And also, you got your thing Friday.
Oh, and Friday with Tony playing a bit of musket and pike. I assume we're playing the English Civil War. So, yeah.
And Wise Guy, what do you got coming up on your channel? Anything good?
So I think For Blau. I think the next game
is crikey.
For Blau on Vassal.
You don't hold back, Nathan, do you? Crikey.
Operation Theseus is going to be. So I've got For Blau on Vassal, more North Africa 41, and Stalingrad 42, and Operation Theseus.
I hope you enjoy Theseus. I really do.
So, yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it because Arkan's great and Crossing the Line is great. Same kind of series, but with minefields and a couple of things like that.
There's some slight differences to it. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Of course, you do a great job with everything you do, and I'm so glad because your time difference. I'm at work and I'm bored to death, and I'll get a little message. Wise Guy's gone live, and I'm like, yeah, all right, here we go. And I turn them on, and people come in my office like, who is that talking to you? And I'm like, oh, don't worry about it.
And this is at work, is it, Jester? Why aren't you fired? What's going on? If I was your boss, can I have a word, please, Jester?
Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for coming out. We do appreciate it.
Thanks.
Next week, it'll be over on Ruff's channel. Nate, you won't be here, correct?
Nope, I won't be here.
So we're gonna get Nate. Ruff will get a substitute for you.
We'll get somebody. Hopefully, get somebody in. I don't want to be just us two because it's like it's a nightmare. So try and get somebody else to come in. So just to have a chat about stuff. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. All right, everybody. What should they do before they leave, Ruff?
Oh, by the way, if you haven't, because it's Jesters, do not bother with the thumbs up. All right. Don't do that. All right. No, please hit that thumbs up just to make sure it's working properly. And if you haven't subscribed to everyone, we need the help. We need it. So yeah. So hit that like.
Right. Thanks so much,
everyone.
Nate and Ruff and everyone. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Great show today. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week over on Ruff's channel.
Yeah.
Bye,
Take care,
everybody.
everyone.